My name is Teddy Rycroft. I live in Taipei, Taiwan. I'm a musician and a singer and a songwriter and a producer. And in this video, I'd like to share with you 3 ways that I've used songwriting to heal. I wish to keep this video short and succinct, but before I dive into the 3 ways, I'd like to discuss an experience I've had with music that was really transformative and shaped the way I think about it and see the potential of it. I played a lot of house shows in college, and at one particular party on Cook Street with my musical partner, Chris Palace at the time. We were playing this set. I was playing guitar, he was playing djembe, and it was a small crowd, maybe 15 people. And we were transitioning between these two cover songs. And we had this moment where we'd build up and build up and build up the volume and intensity, and then cut out. I think it was the song Fever, and we were transitioning into Ain't No Sunshine by Bill Withers. And for that performance, the audience was really locked in, and we built up and we built up and we built out, and we cut. And for that 1 second of silence transitioning between the songs, I felt something so profound that I remember clear as day, even though it happened 6 or 7 years ago. Just this profound silence, a silence that only comes around because everyone that's listening to you is so expectant and ready to hear what's next, that they were all so utterly silent, and I was so utterly silent. And the feeling that I felt was that of a real strong sense of unity between me and the audience. Like I was looking at them, and they were looking at me, and I sensed that I was just looking into a mirror, like we were all on the same page, tapped into the same frequency, whatever you want to call it. It was something that's so difficult to articulate, but was so profound in its intensity and its brevity. And I would go on to have other experiences like that in different contexts, another one being in a sexual context, and I'll share about that in another video. But suffice it to say that that experience alone was enough for me to understand the pure power in uniting human beings that music has, and its untapped potential in reaffirming my own humanity and the humanity of others, and establishing a world of greater unity, greater peace, and greater love. The first way I've learned to heal through songwriting is by forcing myself to sit with my feelings and then articulate and express them as specifically as I can. When my father passed away, I was filled with grief and filled with sadness and filled with all these other emotions that came with a relationship that I was in that was going kind of rocky, and my frustration with my collegiate experience and my desire to leave, but fear of doing so, as well as just the fact that I was trying to articulate and get together what I wanted my life to be like, and it wasn't so clear to me. I had some friendships that were blossoming, I had some friendships that were waning, and it was just a very tumultuous time. And I spent a semester with my buddy down in North Carolina, during which I didn't really make much friends, but I spent a lot of time writing. And I started working on a particular song that I was trying to use to really encapsulate all my grief and all my pain. And I remember just spewing out all these lyrics that could constitute 5 different songs, and having to go through them slowly with a fine-tooth comb and revise them until every time I sang them, it elicited the most deep and profound feeling inside of me, which was largely grief and sadness, but that's what I was feeling at the time. I remember even how the turns of phrases, or the ways that I would use a certain adjective or noun or line of rhythm in a particular line of melody, would have a subtly different feeling. And I recall the joy I would feel when I would get 4 lines of a verse and I would sing it, and it would just feel so right. There was something so affirming and accurate about it, like someone was really shining a spotlight onto a part of my soul. I just felt so validated in that. I think at that time, and at times when people are suffering from anything, and there's a lot of grief involved, there's a whole lot of different feelings, and it can feel like this one big, gray, overwhelming mess. And by sitting down in songwriting, where you only get to say one thing at a time in a linear fashion, I was forced to separate all these different feelings in order that I could articulate them clearly to somebody and not just be vague and trite. At the time, I had a friend of mine who we'd see each other every now and then, and I sensed that through this period of time of us transitioning from early adulthood into proper adulthood, she was gonna fade away from my life. And I was kind of afraid of that happening. And in this song, I kind of made this connection between my friendship with her fading and people in my life disappearing before I could realize it, like it happened with my father, who passed away quite suddenly. And all these things were swarming around in my mind, but it wasn't until I sat down and had to write them all out individually into lines and verses and choruses that I was able to process it. And as my feelings became more clear on the page, so too did they become more clear in my heart. I'm a person who takes pride in the craft, and in order for me to say the song was good, I would really have to articulate things in a way that someone who hasn't experienced it could understand. So there is this built-in motivation for me to not only express myself, but to do so in an extremely concise and direct and wildly honest manner, which forced me to be even more radically honest with myself and unearth all the things that I was feeling, even if I was ashamed of them, like jealousy or self-loathing or self-pity, these feelings that might have been part and parcel with it all, and that I might have kept on carrying with me had I not been forced to sit down and put them all out onto the page. Consequently, this led me to the second way that I've used songwriting to heal, which is to offload all the feelings in your heart and put them in the song so you can move on with your life. Sometimes I feel like music and songs are like a external USB drive, and it's almost like your heart is a computer, your body is a computer, and you have all the stuff that you can't fit on the computer, and you need to put it somewhere. You don't want to just delete it because it's precious to you. Even the feeling of pain, it's precious to me. It's a real thing. I really felt this stuff, but I don't want it to go somewhere else or just disappear. And by articulating myself effectively and phrasing the things in the way that I thought was the most honest, I could let those feelings rest in that song and gain peace and move on without having to just ignore those feelings or suppress them or act like that shit never happened, because it definitely happened. I was going through a very rough relationship when I was first in LA. It was long distance. There was a lot of phone calls, a lot of sad silences over the phone about when we'd see each other next. It wasn't really a recipe for success. And that whole thing ended in a wildly terrible way that I'll be happy to articulate in another video, because I think there's a lot of lessons there. But suffice it to say, I was really torn, and I kept carrying this sad grief with me over the loss of that relationship when it ended. So I went to songwriting as a way to get these feelings out of me so I can move on and continue to thrive and grow. I wrote a whole album about this woman, who's a very beautiful woman, lovely woman. We're still in touch, she's cool. But by doing so and putting all the love and pain that I had for her into those songs where they could live and exist and be pleasurable experiences to anybody, I was able to relinquish and let go without having to kill all those emotions I had felt. As a side note, I think all of our experiences are so valid and so beautiful, and there's so much potential to learn and grow from them. And perhaps that's part of my motivation behind seeking an outlet to place these feelings. There's so many beautiful untold stories from millions of people that wander the earth, and I feel it's a shame that we all can't articulate that clearly and express it to others so that we all might grow collectively. The third way I've used songwriting to heal, and this is the step that I'm currently on, is by sharing this art with the world so that they might heal. It's taken a long time in my own process to feel comfortable even sharing the way I'm sharing with you right now, to feel that I have something of value to share, to feel that my time isn't being wasted uploading another video to the vast ocean of the internet, and feel like my effort and energy isn't being wasted uploading one of my songs to the vast ocean of Spotify and YouTube and all that stuff. I read something recently about how the universal is contained within the specific. And I believe if you are really, really, really honest with yourself and phrase the song in such a beautiful way and honor that craft and hone it to the best you can make it, even though it's so wildly specific to you, that specificity will make it so relatable on such a broad level. At least it's what I'm hoping. I haven't released music in quite a long time for various reasons, and I'm hoping to do so more now, and especially share some of the more intimate and more personal things in the same way that I'm sharing more intimate and personal thoughts and ideas with you right now, with again the hope that it could be of service. I have personally been healed by the music of many of my idols, and I recognize again the power that it has to instill in me a desire to grow and change and heal, and also a feeling that I'm not alone in whatever I happen to be feeling at that time. And it is my hope that I can do the same with the music I share with the world. Once again, the three ways that I've used songwriting to heal is, one, by forcing myself to articulate and express my emotions as accurately as I can in the song, honoring the craft, honoring my feelings, and taking proper account for how I'm feeling. This allows me to, number two, offload my feelings and offload these experiences and put them somewhere else, put them in the music, so I don't have to carry around all this with me wherever I go. And that allows me to move forward and move on and live light and live free. And the third way that I'm using songwriting to heal is now by turning that light outwards to the world and sharing this healing with others. And in the same way that I felt validated and felt affirmed by other people's music being shared with me, so too can I hope to increase that healing, increase that love by sharing this music now with the world. I thank you for your time spent here. If you've made it so far, if you're interested in something more specific about the craft of songwriting, I'm happy to share all that I know. I've been thinking about more educational content like specific guitar, ukulele, or singing curricula, and that's an idea that I'm exploring. This is all in the same vein of being of service to the world through education, in this form through sharing my personal stories, and in other forms through specific task-oriented learning and teaching. I hope this video has been of service to you. If you have any feedback, I'd love to hear about it. I'm on a goal to upload 100 videos in the next 6 months and get that ball rolling and see where it takes me and see how I can be a light in the world and change the world for the better. So thanks.